Chapter 4, party getting started here. So on number 1, which is not number 1, it's actually 3, we're looking at how do we get from ABC to the A prime, B prime, C prime figure. And I see this as a translation. And so I start looking at, like, how did this figure move? And if I just go on C, I got to pick on something else. The scale goes by 2s. The scale goes by 2s. So if I just go first, let's go from C to C prime. It looks like it's going 2, 4, 5 units to the right. So 5 units right. I'll write it the correct way in a minute. And then from there, I'm going to go down 2, 4, 6 units down. So I do that analysis, and then you can write this 2 different ways. You can say all the XY pairs, and I'm just going to assume that all the other pairs did the same thing. I've counted it for one of the points. It should be the same for the other. If I want to write it in coordinate form, it's going to be x plus 5, y minus 6. And I just want to remind you guys, because this was kind of an issue going into the Chapter 4 test last week, that component form expresses the same thing, but it's just different notation. So just paying close attention to that component form, because some of your questions may be specific and ask for that component form. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Now, in 4 and 5, I would expect that you guys would just do the math on these points and not put them in a coordinate plane. And what we're told to do is to take the x value and subtract 4. So the g prime is going to be negative 2 minus 4. And the y value has to have 3 added to it. So just doing the math here, so g prime would then be sitting at negative 6 and 7. So I just kind of put that function, that, the rules into the parentheses there. I don't think I've ever written it like that before, but negative 2 minus 4 gives me the negative 6, and the 4 plus 3 gives me the 7. And then the same thing for h. I want to get to h prime. It's going to be negative 10. I've got to take negative 10 and subtract 4 from that. Negative 10 is the x value, so that's going to be negative 14. H prime, negative 14, comma, y value 5 plus 3, so negative 14 and 8. Negative 14 and 8. Graph the following polygon and its image after reflection in the x-axis. This went off the page. I should have given you graph paper. I didn't. I'm going to do a real not so good looking, put it on this paper and let it go all the way off the page. N coming over the x-axis. N prime is going to be sitting right there. M prime is going to be 2 units below, and I'm just kind of counting, and if you put it on graph paper, better yet. I'm just trying to kind of put it there, and I'm sorry I didn't give you enough space. It is 1, 2, 3, 4 units above the x-axis. K is going to come 1, and I'm kind of just eyeballing 2, 3, 4 units below for K prime. One of the things that I find, and I see you guys kind of doing this too, make sure you're connecting things along the way, because once you get a bunch of points out there, sometimes it looks goofy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I got to eyeball 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that would be like about down there. So there's that weird quadrilateral figure, and there's the idea, even though you don't have enough room. Okay, my bracelet is completely stuck. It is. I'm completely stuck right now. I'm totally stuck. There we go. That was funny. Okay, y equals negative 1. This was actually a Chapter 4 test question that you guys had to reflect over y equals negative 1. And a lot of you guys put it in as x equals negative 1. A lot of you did a reflection going the wrong way. Y equals negative 1 is going to be this line right here. Actually, M goes through it. M goes through it.
Hello. How are you doing, Emma?
Yep. Better. All right. Okay. Okay. Sorry about that. Y equals negative 1 is this line. It goes through M. So M prime is going to stay there. The only way that we can get these points where they need to be is by counting, because this doesn't have any coordinate rules. So L is 1 unit below. L prime is going to come 1 unit above. K is, now this is going by 2s. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. or 2, 4, 6, 7. So that's going to come down here, K prime. And then N prime is 2, 4, 6, 8 down. 2, 4, 6, 8 down. So N prime is going to come down here. And we got a pretty decent idea of what that's going to look like flipped over. If you did it on graph paper, just attach it and then number it. But again, like, we can go to our coordinate rules for reflecting over the x-axis. And if we reflect over the x-axis, that one is actually x-axis turns to a negative b. AB turns to a negative b. So you could have used that to actually figure out the points there, but when we're in something like a horizontal or vertical line that's not an axis, there are no coordinate rules. Now in numbers 1 and 2 down here in this crowd, honestly, you could go through. It actually says find the coordinates of the image. I'm really most interested in you graphing it. But let me just go through and jot the coordinates down. I'm interested in how it looks. You've got to identify what they are. 2 and 3. B is at 4 and 3. C is at 5 and 6. And D is at 1 and 6. And then we have to go do the translation. Go ahead, Sean.
So on the test, will we have to put the coordinates?
Read the directions. Right now it says coordinates. That's why I'm going through and doing it. Now when I go do my primes, first thing I'm going to go down and do, and I don't know how you guys think through this and go over it, but I'm just going to go take all the x's and add 4, 6, 4 plus 4, 5 plus 4, 1 plus 4. And then for the y values, I've got to subtract 5. 3 minus 5 is negative 2. 3 minus 5 is a negative 2. 6 minus 5 is 1. 6 minus 5 is 1. And then, honestly, I'd rather just count 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's landed where I expected it to. That was B prime. A prime, 6, negative 2. So you can get there either way. Wait a minute. No, I just messed this up. 9, 1. Got distracted by some odd noise. Somebody's phone is going to be up here in my possession in a minute. Because even though it might appear that I'm looking here, I know exactly where it's coming from. All right, and so then for the second one, I'll look at me. I didn't give myself any darn room to put my coordinates for 2. Oh, sure, I can do them over here. So it does say find the coordinates. It doesn't say graph the coordinates, it says find it. So I covered my booty here by putting them there. A is at, is this still going by ones? Yep, it sure is. A is at 5, 1. B is at 6, negative 2. C is at 5, negative 5. D is at 4, negative 2. Then I've got to go and do the rule. A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. Write down your x, y, write down all your x's. Subtract 2 from every single x. Subtract 2 from every single x. Jot down what they are. You're really wasting my time and you're going to go in just a moment. Okay, go. So what are all the x values for the A primes? What do we got here?
3.
B.
4, 44.
Okay. And then adding 3 to all the y's. 4, 1, negative 2, 1. And moving them all over. This was going to move every one of them left 2, up 3. Left 2, up 3. Left 2, up 3. And left 2, up 3. And I go check all this with the coordinates I wrote down, and they're all in the right spot. There we go. Moving on to the last page for chapter 4 work. Now the rules, and again, just like I did on your chapter 4 test, I'll give you guys the rules for these. So AB goes to, you guys agree with it? Yeah, negative A, negative B, negative A, negative B. I struggle, man. I'm totally riding the struggle bus trying to see where these rotations go. I have to use the coordinate rules. And then for this one, for the 90 degrees, I've got AB goes to negative B, comma A, negative B, comma A. So then I've got those two rules. Let's go and plot our original pre-image, the A, B, C, D. 4, negative 1 is A, 4, negative 4 is B, 1, negative 4 is C, looks like it's going to be 1, negative 3 is D. Okay, so I've got a nice little four-sided figure here. And then to do the rotation, I expect my figure to be up over in this quadrant when I rotate it, but going through the points, A prime, I'm going to move a little bit quicker here, B prime, C prime, D prime. Hopefully this stuff was fresh enough that you guys could rock through this too. Opposites. Negative 4, positive 1. Negative 4, positive 1. Negative 4, positive 4. Negative 4, positive 4. Negative 1, positive 4. D, negative 1, positive 3. Oh, primes. There it is. I will give you the coordinate rules for any of those that are not like a translation. I'll give you the coordinate rules for reflections and rotations that you need for your exam, just like I did on your test. Moving on. Plot your DEF. DEF needs to be on there. DEF 3, 5. D 3, 5. E 4, 1. F 1, 1. F. Done. Let me go and get my primes. D. Sorry, I'm not writing them underneath. I don't want to squish them up there. I didn't like how squished up that other one was. D. Okay, so the B's, let's see. Let me go drop my A's to the right. So all my A's. 3 goes over here. 4 goes over here. 1 goes over here. They're both 1s. Negative B. Negative 5. Negative 1. Negative 1. Negative 5. 3. D prime. Negative 1, 4. E prime. Negative 1, 1. F prime. There it is. 90 degrees. 90 degrees. Now, moving into the last two problems here, I've got a composition, which is going to be more than one transformation happening. Composition is more than one transformation that's happening. So the very first thing that I want to do on both of these figures is actually, and please be careful reading directions. I can't tell you how many times I look at tests and just realize that people are getting things wrong. Negative 1, negative 3. Because you're just not following what the directions are telling you to do. Not attempting problems because you're just not looking at what the directions are telling you. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and E. So that's my pre-image, and it's actually the same in both drawings. So let me, I'm using the exact same pre-image in both. So before I grab my ruler here, I'm just going to put those there. And I do have a ruler. So there's my pre-image, and both of these had two different things to use as a composition. One of the things that got cleared up last week before the Chapter 4 test is that you go through and you do the first transformation, and then it's from there that you move into the second. So what I'm saying is the first thing I'm going to do is this rotation. And then once I rotate, I'm going to go from that place and do this translation. In this second problem here, the first thing I'm going to do is reflect over the x equals y line. And then the second thing I'm going to do is the 270 degree rotation. And I see a lot of coordinate rules coming into play here. So if I've got, in number 2, I'm going to slide my paper up. And just real quick, I'm going to put down the original values down here because I think with the composition I have to go through, it probably makes the most sense that I organize this work. Do the same thing. This is my original A and B. Okay, now the 180-degree rotation is going to take me to a negative A, negative B. Okay, the 180-degree rotation is going to take me to a negative A, negative B. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go and say then that C prime is going to be at positive 1, positive 3. D prime, negative 4, negative 2. E prime, 5, 1. Let me go put that into my drawing. 1 and 3. Negative 4, negative 2. Never would have been able to eyeball this. It just isn't something that works very well with my brain. I can plot points though. And I can make it look all nice and neat by plotting the points. So there is my image after the rotation. So I went from what was in black to now what's in green. Now from there, I have another rule to follow, and now I have to consider that this is a new A and B, and the rule is telling me to take that and add 3. It says X, but I'm writing A's and B's. Add 3 and add 1. A, yep. So now C double prime, add 3, add 1. D double prime, add 3, add 1. E double prime, add 3, add 1. Now I'm going to go plot them. 4, 4. C double prime. So I went from the green now into the purple. Negative 1, negative 1. D double prime. 8. This was at 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 and 2. E double prime. So a lot going on in there. And they're overlapping, which makes it even a little bit more challenging. But I know what I'm looking for when I score these. So just make sure that your figures are labeled and you're using a ruler so I can, you know, see the image pretty clearly. So, and again, I stopped off at my green, and it was from there that I did the X plus 3 and the Y plus 1. And I see some people that are still working on that, so I'm just going to hold off for a second. Well, I am waiting. I'm going to go jot down my original C, D, and E points again, because now I have to go through and do this next set of transformations here. C, D, if somebody's waiting, if you can get me the X equals Y rule. I'm looking for the X equals Y rule and the 270 rule. I know, Billy, you seem to have those, or you have them written on your page. So this is my original AB. Now I'm going to go take it to an X equals Y. B, which is it? I'm hearing two. BA? Just BA. BA. Okay, so I'm going to, why did I write it up there? So I'm taking this to BA. All I'm doing is switching them. When I just have to do a quick switch, I like to just set up my parentheses. Oh, why am I putting doubles? Single primes, single primes, single prime. Double will be next. Switch them. Negative 3, negative 1, 2, 4, negative 1, negative 5. I think some of you are probably learning some things too that you might not have done well on the Chapter 4 test, but hopefully you can clean this up on the exam. So C prime, 3, negative 3, negative 1. C prime. That doesn't seem right. You guys are sure that the Y equals X line is BA? Okay. Oh, sure does. I was thinking of Y equals negative X. In my mind, I had Y equals negative X. That's why I'm like, this isn't right. Nope, it is. C prime, D prime, negative 1, negative 5, E prime. Yeah, that makes sense. Y equals X. I'm going to draw it on here real quick with a pencil. Y equals X is... this line that goes through the origin, all of its points, 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 10, 10, negative 10, negative 10.
Can we do a 270 on prime?
Now you're ready to do your 270, and we do it on the primes. So we go from here. So now we're going to call these greenies my AB. And what does the 270 do, Billy?
B negative A.
You guys all right with that? Now I'm going to doubles. So again, take this chance. Like if you guys should be like, oh man, I know I messed that up on the test. Get it right now. So let me move my B's all out front. Done. B's stayed the same, but they moved out front. Opposite of A's, positive, negative, positive. Interesting. Is that right? Oh, it's negative 5 and 1. There we go. Like that didn't seem right. There's my doubles. There's one problem like this on your test because these are time consuming on your exam. These are very time consuming. There's one that has these multiple layers. And any of the formulas that you guys are going to need will be on your test or on your exam for you. That wraps up all of chapter